Dear followers of De Wereldmorgen, for our non-Dutch speakers, De Wereldmorgen means the world tomorrow, that world that we care so much about. In our news site, we try to give a voice in Belgium and in the Netherlands in the Dutch language for climate activism, social activism, and of course, peace activism. Whether it was on Ukraine, the 27th of February 2022, or whether it's Gaza 7 October, we totally reject the mainstream narrative as if those dates are like the beginning of something out of the blue. You know, what we always say is there's a context and there's a history. And that is what we always say, and we refuse to abide by that, you know, mainstream where you first have to condemn 7 October, and then you can say, well, okay, you know, that is something that we totally reject with our things, and we have already had some backlash here too. But anyway, what we have noticed, what we have seen to our major is these US campuses saying we're not taking it anymore, especially in the United States, the country that's complicit in the genocide in Gaza, not just students, but also academics, and it's spread out all over the world. And when I'm talking about the Benelux, I'm talking Ghent, Antwerp, Brussels, Leuven, Utrecht, Amsterdam, anywhere, Tilburg, Erasmus. I've seen that you've been there. So anyway, Jodi, I started to notice you because there's so many people on the internet by an article by the Dutch author Anja Meulenbelt, who wrote about your essay. And I said to myself, well, that's a voice that we want to hear as well. Jodi, please, can you tell us a bit background on yourself and then why you said to yourself, I have to write this essay that's called Palestine Speaks for Everyone, and also why that title, what that actually means, please.
Right. I'm a political theorist. I live in upstate New York, where I teach in a small liberal arts college. I've been there about 30 years. I also am a political activist and organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation in the States, a small communist party. And I've been always kind of an active person. So I never thought of political theory as just something you write. I've always thought that it has to have an element of praxis in it. On my essay, it's a hard one because you said at the beginning things didn't just start on October 7th, and that's right. I am as a communist. It's just what you breathe is the liberation, the right of self-determination, and the liberation struggles of the Palestinian people. It'd be like it's not a question. It's the correct way to think. But I was also in Ramallah. I don't remember what year, maybe 2018, I think, for I spoke at Birzeit University, and I was part of a Reading Marx in Ramallah event. And it was an incredible experience to see the checkpoints and to see the wall and to, experience the city being shut down because the IOF was, attacking some soldiers in the inn and, at the edge of the city. And I never wrote about it because I couldn't figure out how without making it, Jodi goes to Ramallah, right? It becomes like too many of these like confessional stories, like, oh, here, when the reality has been there over 75 years. If we want to start with the Nakba, if we want to start further, we can start with, the beginnings of colonization. So I never wrote about it, even though it was really profoundly something that affected me. But then, after October 7th, I think like anyone with a conscience and a soul, I was deeply engaged in organizing and activism, and also trying to educate myself more to be able to talk about it, right? When I'm protesting or when I'm doing political work. And the more I read, the more I continued with everyone in the frustration of the ongoing genocide, the more I felt like, the fact that this is a freedom struggle is not being upheld as much as I would like to see. Instead, what I see a lot is see people who feel like they have to condemn Hamas before they speak. And I
Absolutely,
see,
yeah.
I mean, and many people, right? People who should know better. And then I see also the good-hearted people who are worried about civilians and women and children. And it's like, wait a minute, so no men matter? Like none of this can be right. And so I started reading in that vein, and then wrote this essay that tries to capture the sense of the freedom struggle, and that tries to emphasize that there are good reasons to be inspired when a people fight back against the oppressor against all odds. My institution did not like this essay, so that's the next part.
Yes, please. What I heard is your dean. Sorry, that's what it's called. The
president,
dean,
the president.
The president. Okay. He apparently asked you how you felt when you saw the images of 7 October, as if that's the issue.
Yeah, that's right. I actually said, here's what I wrote. I can't, you're asking me what I felt. In fact, my whole piece is about the policing of feeling, and the intent to smother or suppress any feelings of solidarity with Palestine. But yeah, he did ask me that.
Well, it rings a bell with what's happening here with the presidents of the universities here. Well, in Belgium they were a bit reticent to act immediately. In Holland they were just calling the police, etc. But for the moment, the Dutch Parliament is considering a new law to expel academics and students of non-Dutch nationality for acts of anti-Semitism, and you know what that's meant by that in this case.
Oh no.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what I want to ask you, I mean, you live in the United States, which has a specific kind of democracy. Is this the demise of democracy as we knew it, or was it always just a sham?
Oh my God, that's such a painful and hard question. I don't think it was always just a sham, because I think that when a ruling class has to present its rule in a way that's appealing to those, to the working class, or those who it's over, if it has to present itself with some kind of legitimation, those very legitimations can be used up against it. And so I don't think democracy is always a sham, even if it's always failed. I think that having to articulate these values can have some effect. I think that now what we're seeing is the demise of academic freedom, free speech, anything like critical discourse. It's utterly shocking. It's just shocking. Like the most anodyne statements are being accused as being dangerous, as being harmful, as being threatening, and as you said, as being anti-Semitic.
Now, people like, I'm coming back to him, Noam Chomsky, have warned us about these things many decades ago. Now, I'm 71 now, I was just a little bit too young to really appreciate the whole anti-Vietnam era, where campuses were all very active. And he said, do not think that they are sure what they were doing. They are very afraid of this kind of activism, which is for me a reason to keep doing it. Would you say so?
Yeah, it's a really smart, not surprisingly coming from Noam Chomsky, smart and politically astute point. I mean, what's crazy in the US, and I think in Europe as well, is why are the universities so threatened by students having peaceful demonstrations, right? They're like in most of the ones in the US, they're doing things like praying or like citing poetry or study groups or like embroidery, right? They're not doing anything like extreme at all. And this is what's threatening. I think the threat is the threat is the end of fragmentation. The threat is the end of division. The threat is to say, you don't get to determine how you're going to spread us out. We will determine that. We will determine what we want to do. And that fight back is something they weren't prepared for.
Absolutely. Now, what I particularly liked in your essay is this imagery that you use from the gliders and then also the kites as a way of portraying the resilience and the imagination of the resistant. Also, I mean, the total imbalance of force, yet if you look at history, so many guerrillas have find with a lot of struggle and a lot of victims, if you see what's going on. Now, I also had the honor of interviewing Ilan Pape, and he says, well, it's going to be much horrible more on the short run, but he says this is the demise of the Zionist project. Would you be so positive in the long run?
Yeah, actually, I think so. And I think the way I also think about it is this may even be the demise of imperialism or an imperialist project, particularly a US imperialist project. If we take up the PFLP's analysis was that the defense of Palestine was the linchpin in
the
a
Palestinian
larger
Front for the Liberation of Palestine, just for your viewers,
this was the linchpin in the struggle against imperialism. And because of the way that basically close to the entirety of the global South stands with Palestine against the United States, and the US has isolated itself in its just knee-jerk and total defense of Israel in totally indefensible circumstances, I think we could say that it's been a death blow to imperialism. It just imperialism doesn't know it yet, right? So it might continue to be bad for a while.
Also, when we saw, for example, another subject, the peace summit in Switzerland on Ukraine, and I asked myself, do these people really believe what they say, or are they really that how would I say ideologized in their thinking? That they're going to draw us to a war, because you are in the US, no, you're in Brazil right now, but we only live like 2 days drive from the Russian border. So that's physically another thing to consider. These people really, really want to consider nuclear war, and also, I mean, there are some people in the present government in Israel as well who might consider doing this. So my question, I mean, of course, nobody has the real final answer. Is my question: peace activism, the way that we do it. If we look at history and if we look at today, I believe it has a meaning. But what kind of advice would you give to your fellow academics here in the Benelux?
We have to be willing to take more risk. We have to be willing to accept more consequences. One of the things that's been sort of noted is that many academics talk a game of radicality, and they talk like radicals, and they talk about transformation and transgression. And yet when it comes to things that are really risky, there's like silence. And I think that that one good thing is that the universities have revealed themselves as to be primarily institutions for maintaining a particular kind of imperialist or class order, right? They're allied with the police. They're allied with forces of capital and real estate asset holders. The images from Columbia University, which was just cops defending empty buildings, like students and faculty couldn't even be there. Like that's the core of the university today. And when we academics can stop defending that and instead try to think and dream and be with the students to find something else, like what would another one really be like? And it's hard, right? Our livelihoods are at stake. Like my livelihood is really at stake. But I mean, if we think that the institutions are these bad institutions that we say they are, then why are we defending them? Why are we invested in them? That's what we have to do. We have to be willing to accept more personal risk.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I'm retired. My younger colleagues here on the news sites, they face this problem because we are being threatened as well for what we do. But anyway, my background, thought is always, can I look myself in the mirror in the evening?
Yeah.
And also, I have grandchildren. Well, okay, They might ask some question when they're like 18 or 20 years old, and then at least I think that's already enough as a start. It's not, there has to be much more. But anyway, thank you very much. As a final word, as I said at the beginning, you're in Sao Paulo now in Brazil, and you're not the only one there. Noam Chomsky is there with his wife for the moment. He's recovering for the moment. Could you just say a little bit about what Noam Chomsky means to you?
He tells the truth, and against all sorts of overly complicated or fake or passive or divisive or qualifying statements that have become the norm in academia and in political discussion. He straightforwardly tells the truth, and he tells us, and he models for us a life of integrity, but of telling the truth. And if we could all do that, I think that maybe we could really have a world where Palestine is free.
That's a very, very good final message from you. We had Jodi Dean. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We also thank our followers. Please do not forget, we bring you this news for free, but our donations are always welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks.